You're exhausted from being yourself. Not from work, not from responsibilities, from the performance of being you. Every single day, every single post, every single moment someone might be watching. It's midnight. You're lying in bed, phone glowing in the dark. You should sleep, but first, one more check. Did that story get enough views? Should you delete that photo? The one from this afternoon that got 47 likes when your usual is 120. You stare at it. The lighting was off. Your smile looked forced. You delete it. Post something safer. A quote. An aesthetic shot of your coffee from this morning that you saved for exactly this moment. You've tried being real. Posted the messy room, the no makeup selfie. But even that required 12 takes. Even vulnerability became content. Even authenticity needed an audience, and the algorithm punished you for it anyway. Too real doesn't sell, doesn't get engagement, doesn't prove you're thriving. Here's what you don't say out loud. You're not sure there's a version of you that exists without an audience anymore. Because even when you're alone, you're watching yourself, judging whether this moment is post-worthy, whether this thought is tweet-worthy, whether this feeling is story-worthy. You've become both the performer and the critic, and you're failing at both. There's a name for what's happening. The curated self. But it's deeper than that. The philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls this the achievement society, where everyone is a self-exploiting worker in his own enterprise. Everyone is both master and slave. You're not being oppressed by others. You're optimizing yourself to death, voluntarily. Every time you say, I need to post today, or I have to keep my engagement up, you're treating yourself like a product, a brand, a project that requires constant improvement, constant curation, constant performance. And brands don't get to rest. They don't get to be inconsistent. They don't get to have bad days without losing followers. Research shows nearly half of social media users experience depression and anxiety directly linked to their usage. This isn't weakness. Your brain is processing a split consciousness. Who you are versus who you're performing. That split requires constant mental energy. The exhaustion is biochemical. This is why you can scroll for 2 hours and feel more drained than after a full day of work. You're not relaxing. You're simultaneously performing, judging, comparing, and adjusting your next performance based on what you see. Han argues we've moved from a disciplinary society to an achievement society. In the old world, power said, you may not. In the new world, power says, yes, you can. And that unlimited possibility is what's destroying you. You're not being forced to curate yourself. That's what makes it so cruel. You're choosing it. But the choice itself is designed. The platform architecture, the algorithm, the dopamine loop, they're all built to make exploitation feel like freedom. You think you're curating yourself. Really, you're being curated. It's 7 a.m. You wake up, and before your feet touch the floor, you check your phone. Not for messages, for numbers. How did last night's post do? Your worth is quantified before you're even conscious. That's not vanity, that's self-exploitation. As Han writes, more efficient than external exploitation because a deceptive feeling of freedom accompanies it. The neuroscience is devastating. Social media platforms operate on variable reward schedules, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. That notification dopamine hit when someone likes your post, that crash when they don't. Your brain learns to crave validation through performance, and the crashes get deeper each time. Research shows 80% of content creators report burnout, with 2/3 experiencing declining mental health. The dopamine crash gets deeper with each cycle. But here's where the sociologist Erving Goffman adds another layer. He wrote about presentation of self. We're always on a stage. always performing for an audience. But Goffman wrote that in 1959. Back then, you had a backstage, home, private moments, places where you could drop the mask. Now, Instagram is your front stage, your backstage, your bedroom, your therapist's office. There's nowhere left to stop performing. And here's the paradox Han identifies. The achievement subject grinds itself down, entirely incapable of stepping outward, of standing outside itself, of relying on the other. It locks its jaws on itself. Paradoxically, this leads the self to hollow and empty out. The more you optimize yourself, the more you lose yourself, because even authentic has become another performance. The cruelest part? The metrics never stop. There's no enough. Social media now pays people to turn their entire lives into content. Weddings, funerals, fights with partners, children's first steps, all of it monetized, all of it performed, all of it judged by strangers who will comment on your marriage, your parenting, your grief. And for some, this isn't vanity, it's survival. The gig economy turned everyone into their own brand, whether they wanted to be or not. If you stop curating, you stop eating. But you're not just performing for validation. You're performing against everyone else's highlight reel, and theirs is always winning. You post your vacation photo, 127 likes. Your friend posts theirs, 340 likes. The comparison doesn't feel optional. It feels like falling behind. Monday morning, LinkedIn. You're crafting the professional self. That project that barely held together? Successfully led cross-functional initiative. That weekend you spent paralyzed by anxiety? Not mentioned. You curate yourself into someone promotable. Someone whose burnout is invisible. Because if you don't, the algorithm deprioritizes you. Recruiters scroll past. You disappear. And in the gig economy, disappearing means not eating. This isn't performance for vanity. This is performance for survival. Friday night, dinner with friends. Everyone's phones are face up on the table. Someone posts a photo. Love these people. You were mid-sentence when the photo was taken. No one was listening to you. They were all performing presence while being absent. The dinner isn't for connection anymore. It's content. It's competing. Your friend's post got 340 likes. Yours got 127. You feel it in your chest, that small collapse. Not jealousy exactly. Just the constant, exhausting arithmetic of worth. Remember Han's warning? We've become both master and slave. We're choosing this. Sunday, alone. This should be backstage. The one place you can stop performing. But there is no backstage anymore. Goffman's front stage has swallowed everything. That book you're reading could be a story. That walk could be content. Even your loneliness is filtered through. Is this the aesthetic kind of alone, or the sad kind? Should I photograph this coffee? This sunset? This moment of supposed peace? You've forgotten how to just be. Without an audience, without curation, without wondering if this moment proves you're living your best life or wasting it. Different situations, same exhaustion. Same split between being and performing. Same hollow feeling when you finally put the phone down and realise you didn't actually experience any of it. You documented it. Remember that midnight moment? Lying in bed, deleting the photo that didn't perform well enough, posting something safer. What if the exhaustion isn't failure? It's consciousness. Han writes about fundamental tiredness. Not the exhausted tiredness of performance, but a deeper tiredness that suspends egological isolation. The kind of tiredness that makes you finally stop performing and just be. Your exhaustion is proof you're still human under the performance. You're tired because you're aware of the split. You notice the gap between who you are and who you're selling. Most people have numbed out completely. Camus wrote about Sisyphus pushing the boulder uphill forever. The punishment wasn't the labour, it was being conscious of its meaninglessness. But Camus ends with this: one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not because the boulder got lighter, because Sisyphus stopped pretending the boulder was something else. He owned his struggle. He chose to find meaning in the absurdity. You can't escape being seen. Humans have always performed. But you can stop pretending the performance is all you are. The curated self isn't you. It's a selection, a highlight reel, an advertisement for a life you're too busy marketing to actually live. And knowing that, really knowing it, gives you permission. Permission to be inconsistent. Permission to have one moment today that isn't content. Permission to feel something without translating it into a caption. Permission to let the boulder roll back down and not photograph it. You're not weak for being exhausted. You're human for wanting one space where you don't have to be optimized. The exhaustion is proof you still know the difference between the curated self and the real one. That awareness, that split you feel, isn't failure. It's consciousness refusing to be fully absorbed into the performance. Tomorrow you'll probably post something. That's okay. But maybe tomorrow you'll also have one conversation that stays private. One feeling that doesn't need an audience. One moment where you exist without commentary. The achievement society will still be there. The algorithm will still demand content. The metrics will still quantify your worth. But you'll know, really know, that the exhaustion you feel isn't proof you're failing at being yourself. It's proof you're still conscious enough to know the difference between living and performing. And maybe, just maybe, that awareness is the first step toward choosing yourself over your brand.